All right, Des Moines, we are in Iowa. It is so cold. It's colder than I can even tell you. It says it's 24 degrees, but it feels like 7 is what it says on the weather app. But you know what? We're gonna bring the fire today, because what we're gonna teach today in Des Moines is tonight, because it's Sunday, I'm not gonna be doing live seller calls or agent calls. We're actually gonna do a raising private capital class. And I want to give you all that footage from the meetup so that you guys can also watch the Raising Private Capital class that we're going to teach everybody in Des Moines tonight. Now, it's Sunday, so I'm not filming with members. We had about 15 sub-2 members in Des Moines that were like, hey, highlight my deal, etc. But I decided to take a family day and spend the whole day with Laura, the kids, doing homeschooling and catching up with homeschooling stuff that we missed this week, all of those types of things. And then we'll get into the meetup. Tonight, we are supposed to have about 70 people at the meetup. Really looking forward to Des Moines. I had a lot of fun in Omaha, Nebraska. It was incredible. In fact, that meetup was so cool. So shout out to Josh again for all of that. And shout out to Ann and Amber for putting the meetup together tonight, getting sponsors. They got 2 sponsors. One of them is an agent in sub-2. He's incredible. We also have a wealth management company that sponsored the event. It's supposed to be a really big building, and we're supposed to have a small turnout, but we'll see how many people show up. And by the end of this, you will have what you need for raising capital. You will also have new connections and new ideas that you wouldn't have otherwise. All right, so when it comes to raising private capital, some people will ask themselves, do I really need to know how to raise capital? I just want to do 5 deals and retire. The answer is yes, you are going to need to learn how to raise private capital, especially if you're going to want to do a deal that would retire your family. Most of these are going to be RV parks, mobile home parks, self-storage, multifamily deals, buying a business. Those, like, one deal is going to be enough for most people to be able to retire. So you're gonna need sometimes down payment, you're gonna need operating expenses, you're gonna need that stuff. And a way to creatively fund these transactions is by doing private money. So a fund, which I have a fund means we are going to buy properties like this. See that property at 123 Main Street? We're not gonna buy that property, but we're gonna buy properties like this. And so we wanna put a fund together. It's the same thing as a syndication. The only difference between a syndication and a syndication is buying for a specific property. A fund is buying for a specific type of property. Who has an advantage? Let's say that I go find something on Crexy.com. By the way, if anybody's like, where do you find deals? I'll tell you right now, go to Crexy.com, CREXI.com. So Crexy.com, I go to Crexy.com, I reach out to a broker and I go, hey broker, I want to buy this $20 million property. That broker is going to say, no problem, send us an LOI. What's an LOI? Letter of intent. Now, I give away raising private capital classes all the time. I think if you pay somebody to teach you how to raise capital, you should be smacked around, because what's going to happen is you're going to learn that if you go pay somebody $12,000, $15,000, $60,000 to raise capital, that person is going to tell you, also go get an opinion from an attorney, because I really shouldn't be teaching this kind of stuff, because you can go to prison for raising capital the wrong way. Okay? You can't go to prison for doing a real estate transaction the wrong way. You can go to prison for raising money the wrong way. So today's video and what we're going to do tonight in Des Moines is talk about what's a fund, what's a syndication, and why you shouldn't care when you're brand new. And so we want to put a fund together. It's the same thing as a syndication. The only difference between a syndication and a syndication is buying for a specific property. A fund is buying for a specific type of property. The key components of raising capital are all taught in this hour and a half that I recorded, by the way, on our Osmo. Raising capital is the ability to tell the story about an asset and get people excited about it enough to write a check for $100,000. That's what raising capital is. Is it let me find people that are accredited investors and throw them an email? No. Have you guys ever been pitched through an email and you're just like, delete, yes or no? Okay, so is raising money having a good deal, or is it having the ability to tell a story in a way that gets people excited about deploying capital? So as a syndication, it's easier to raise money because you can say, look at this beautiful house. Here, I'll give you a good example. I've got a property right now we're buying, it's an RV park, and I'm raising 900 grand for it. And I'm not doing a syndication or a fund. I will do a fractional raise. And I'll tell you why I'll do a fractional raise, and we'll downgrade here in a second once we go away from syndication and fund, okay? Syndication and fund is like God tier. It's like the highest possible level. The other one is like angel tier, okay? And then we'll go down, okay? So a syndication is easier because I can go, hey, I have an RV park. I'm buying it for $3.7 million. The seller's gonna carry $2.8 million in a seller finance note. I just need $900,000 to purchase it. Now, what's cool about this park is it's cash flowing on day one. $12,000 a month is coming into this park every single month net in our pocket. So we're net cash flowing on day one. But what's even better about this park is I'm taking that $12,000 and every month I'm putting a deposit on a tiny home to come into the park and start amplifying the revenue so that our revenue and our cash flow will go to $30,000 a month within 36 months. Raising money is the articulation of a story that gets people excited to write a check. It was interesting. I've learned about Midwesterners a lot the last couple of cities, and I've figured them out. It took me a couple cities. I'm sad to admit that it took me that long, but if I could sum it up, is that they're so nice that they don't want to burden anybody else with their troubles. So when they ask a question or they talk about a deal or they ask for some advice in a large crowd, they always assume nobody else is going to get value from my little silly problem. So why would I speak up? I'd rather just carve out time with Pace personally, which is nearly impossible. Like, think about these meetups. Des Moines even was supposed to be a small meetup. It was not a small meetup. It was 120 people showed up and only 70 people RSVP'd. So you're not gonna get one-on-one time with me. I already have friends in these cities that I'm gonna go, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you in 3 months or 6 months or 9 months or whatever it is. And so you're not gonna get time with me, but everybody thinks they are. And so what they do is they go, I'm not gonna ask the question. You know what? There will be time later for me to carve out time to talk to Pace. No, there won't. I'm there for 5 hours and there still won't be time. Ask your question, raise your hand, I'll get to you. What I found is that people are so worried about nobody else getting value that they just don't speak up. In fact, this morning, check this out. I wish we had this for the Alaska video. In this morning's jam session, I do a live YouTube video every day. About 700 people from my community, Sub 2 Gator, Top Tier TC, they show up to the Zoom and we jam together. We solve each other's problems in a live Zoom. I also am simultaneously streaming it to YouTube. So Dave comes in today from Alaska and he goes, Pace, Alaska was so amazing. I'm sorry, I thought I was gonna have a lot more time with you. It was great to see you again, but I wanted to come on the jam session and tell you about these 7 deals I'm working. Dave, I saw you at the meetup and I asked repeatedly, does anybody have anything going on? And Dave was like, didn't raise his hands. He's like, I know, I just didn't want to bother people. I'm like, what do you have? And he goes, well, just so you know, I own the largest salmon fishing lodge in Alaska. And he's like, I make $1 million a year, blah, 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 blah. I bought it with Creative Finance since I joined Sub 2. It changed my life. I'm like, wait, you have the largest Alaska fishing operation in Alaska. It was purchased with Creative Finance since you joined Sub 2 and you didn't want to mention that to me in Alaska? Yeah, I didn't want to bother anybody. Then he goes on to talk about another lodge he's buying. He's going to consolidate. It was really, really good. That's what you find in Des Moines, is that people had so many deals they were working. But I find in the Midwest, you're not going to pull that out of them. You can tease them, nudge them, encourage them, be positive, 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 pray with them. You can do everything you possibly can. You're not going to get a Midwesterner to speak up in the middle of a room. It's not going to happen. So what I did in the meetup last night is I had the people in Des Moines break up and network and go to the concession stands, and we kind of kept it really casual. And I didn't even tell them to do anything. I just said, all right, guys, let's get into smaller groups. Kept it simple, and then boom. They were in their element. Small groups, they can chat about their deals, etc. Somebody then walks up to me and tells me, here's the thing you don't understand about Midwesterners. We all grew up in these little cities. We all know each other. We've all dated each other. All of our moms know all of our other moms. And I don't want to speak up in a room because then people are going to be like, you hear what Dave said? Oh my gosh, I was at this meetup and Dave said blah, 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 blah. And then next thing you know, my whole neighborhood knows I was at the meetup. Like, oh, wow. I don't have that problem in Phoenix, you know? So that is a big deal. It actually is a big deal here in Des Moines. So the meetup was incredible. A lot of high level raising capital. A couple of deals were done last night. We had a real estate agent who's in Sub 2 that had about 14 members all commit to coming and making calls at his office this week. And so the mission of helping 100 people, 100 cities get their first deal is alive and fully well. We have checked the box in every single city. I also, side note, side quest, kind of a personal thing I haven't even brought up, but I've had a goal to make sure every top tier TC in our community is actively doing deals. And so far, I'm happy to report every single city, all of our TCs are 100% successful and actively doing deals. A lot of fun to be able to say that. So if I was to start over in Des Moines, it wouldn't even be a challenge. It wouldn't even be a challenge. Why? Because very few people are actually making calls in Des Moines, Iowa. Most people are buying deals from other people. There's like 3 people in town actually making calls. Everybody else is buying deals from those 3 people. You can choose any strategy in Des Moines. But what I would choose in Des Moines, Iowa, is I would choose to do infill land development because there's a demand of people moving to Iowa and there's incredibly cheap land. And I would buy the land on seller finance, no payments for 12 months, pay the seller a little bit more money than what they're asking. I develop houses, sell them. So I do slow flips, basically. Like I develop, small houses in a small neighborhood, and I'd do 10, 15 houses at a time. And that's what I would do. We're the builder, the lender, and the land supplier all in that same room last night. And that's what I would have done in this market because it has a massive demand for new homes.